Hello, everybody. Welcome to Live with Georgia. Hello, hello. You can see that I'm in a new environment. We've come out in the light, out from the darkness of the High Priestess, the Magician, and the Fool. And they live in that kind of space of raw energy. And here we're with the Empress today. We're talking about the wonderful Earth Mother. And as you can see, I'm wearing Mother Earth's crystals on my head and a crown of her crystals to embody and imbue the Empress. So I know that her energy is already with us. So welcome, welcome. I'm going to post my links for people who want a reading tonight. There we go. We've got a lot lined up for everybody who wants a reading. You can post your question, let me know that you've paid, and then we can start along. I've got some wonderful things to say about the Empress when we come up to her, and 30% of all of our readings tonight, all of the money gathered, all of the proceeds goes to Arunachala Animal Sanctuary in India, in Tiruvannamalai, which is right at the foot of Arunachala near Ramana Maharshi's ashram. And they help all kinds of animals that, here we go. I'm saying welcome, hello, hi to everybody here. Hi, let me know that you're here. If you can post a comment, that'd be lovely. Deb, hello, how are you? Oh, wonderful, thanks, Deb. Let me know if you want a specific question by writing your question in the comments, and then I can just jump straight in. I've also got the Divine Feminine Oracle, and now I know among sort of tarot reading groups, sort of bringing in oracles or the use of oracles can be a little taboo. But I'd like to think that tonight we're bringing in the Divine Feminine, and for that purpose, I will choose a card for us from this deck. There are wonderful, incredibly empowering stories in this collection of cards of women all over the world who've kind of outshone their sort of adversity. And I think tonight the Empress is all about that. Hello, hi, Jen. Hello, how are you? Linda, hi. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much. Jen and I were literally just texting a moment ago, and as most people know, there was a huge cyclone hurricane that came across the east coast of America this week, and we were expecting it to be really, really bad. And of course, it was bad in some areas and not in others. We had trees knocked down. We had trees falling on cars. I don't know. I didn't hear any stories of people being hurt, but there were blackouts in lots of areas. I know in Connecticut and Long Island, and in many, many places that still don't have power. So Jen, power to you. Let's bring down some power from above, from the source. And I really hope that your area gets power back soon. I think it was Manhattan just the other night, yesterday morning, had like a very short blackout. But I can't even imagine what it would be like for that to go on for hours or even days. So sending lots of love to everybody who's had power outages. Hello, hello, thank you. Hey, Adele, hello, thank you. It's good to see you. You'd love a reading? Absolutely. You sent payment? Superb. I'm just going to write everyone's names down so that I have. So Deb's, got to get my pen right. Deb and Adele. Wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm shuffling the cards. We're calling on the Divine Feminine. We are also sitting in front of this beautiful tanka, this Tibetan tanka of Avalokiteshvara. And even though in the stories that have been written in the Heart Sutra and the Diamond Sutra, Avalokiteshvara has a masculine presence, there is a true sort of balance between the masculine and the feminine. And the picture depicts 1,000 arms, and this is a compassionate bodhisattva that holds the presence for basically in compassion and love for the whole world. So I believe that the Divine Feminine, which is the High Priestess, the card that comes before the Empress, who we're talking about tonight, holds that energy, and through the Empress it is expressed into the world. So the Empress is the one that has the responsibility of showing us in the 3 dimension what the Divine Feminine is capable of. Maria, hi, we've got someone from Australia. Yay. So we've got 3 continents represented. We have the American continent, North American continent, Australia, and Europe. Wonderful. Thank you. This is a truly international show. Actually, as I'm leaning forward, this crown might drop. I want to tell a little story about the crown, but I might do that after we've done a few readings. So, Deb, let me know. What's your question? Do you have a specific question, or do you want a general reading? So, for anyone who is on my emailing list, I sent out an email with some tips and tricks not so long ago, actually. However, if you read through it, I covered the past, present, future spread. And I love your card, says Adele. Which one? Oh, this one? That one over there. So that is a the crown. So I thought you were talking about that little painting over there. So that is Kuan Yin, actually. And so we've got the energy of the feminine, really strongly pumping tonight with all these incredible ladies here as well. So let me know, Deb. We'd love a question about the flood we just endured yesterday in our home. I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope it wasn't too severe. This card literally just plopped out. So this is thought energy. Isn't that wonderful? Because when we think of floods, we think of emotions, and generally water and emotions are connected together. But if you look at this card is talking about thoughts, and I feel that thoughts and emotions are connected, obviously. So we can think something and create an emotion with the thought, or we could be experiencing emotion, and that emotion fuels more thoughts of its own. So the reason this one literally flipped out of the deck, I have to talk about it. I will pull an extra card though. And so what I'd like to say is, has there been in the household, maybe around the household or in the energy of the area that you're living in, has there been this kind of thought, action and vibration? So I'm just going to see if I can get the card into, there it is. Wonderful. Can you see those clouds? This kind of like jagged, clouds that are kind of like on the side, and they're clearly moving very fast. So these are fast thoughts. Have there been fast thoughts moving through the minds of the people in the house, or maybe the minds of the people around the house? Have there been arguments? Have there been sort of disconcerting thoughts? That's what I think of. And look at the way this character's hair is blowing in the wind. It's like almost vertical, right? And so that would be my first question to you. So the kind of thinking that's creating crossed thoughts, or thoughts that are not in alignment with that which you want to be in alignment with, right? So has there been thoughts out of alignment? That's my first question, but I'm going to pull another card. There we go. And then it was significant, huge, yeah. And so emotions and thoughts are tied together, because that. I don't need to tell you, Deb, because you're very much in tune with no arguments within the home, but we had an issue with our property management that was taking place. So this could be it, right? This could be it, where people are actually not in agreement with one another. This is what's happening, right? So the swords that are on the ground are at complete opposite to the swords that are in the hand here. Right? And there's one sword in the middle, which means that there is middle ground, and you'll be able to find middle ground. So would you like me to pull a card on management, Deb? So I'm going to pull one on you in the house, one on management, and the third one on resolution. So, there's going to be resolution, because this is both of you. So this is you in the house, and this is management. And this is the outcome. So in terms of the property management, so the issue with the property management, it looks to me like it's going to turn out okay, because this is a great card. The sun means you've come out the other side. It kind of means that you've gone out of the darkness into the light. And that the child energy means that you're kind of young and free and happy, and you don't have responsibility. So it's looking good for this particular issue with management. Let's have a look. So does the plumbing need, my question was, does the plumbing or does there need to be some kind of, they need to look inside this house and they need to fix a few things, right? Lots of healing with them about the situation. I'm doing great, actually. That's wonderful. It's clear that there is work, and it's, yes, you can, Amy. Hello, how are you? So there is work to be done for them. This is for management, that they need to actually do something. And I think it'll just, it'll be done in some ways. It's going to be over fairly quickly, because I asked about timing and the swords. Now, I'm not actually telling you what I'm thinking every time I pick a card. And when I'm telling a story or when we're looking at a situation, I just ask the next obvious question. How's it going to turn out, right? That was the Sun card. And then, are they going to work on the plumbing or the particular issue? Well, yes, and there's probably more than one issue. They'll have to trace it back to the original issue. And will it be over soon? And the swords is right next to the clubs in terms of something happening, or an action happening fairly quickly. So this will be in days, and this is probably 1 or 2 weeks. So let us know how it goes, Deb. Let me see. Is it more complicated than that? Should we ask Spirit? Is there anything that we're missing? I'm not sure that we should test Spirit, but here we go. This is an interesting card. So, a landlord, there's an exchange happening here, isn't there? So tenants who live in an apartment or a house are paying rent for the space and for the use of the space, right? And what you want to do, and maybe this is what you're actually unveiling, is that there's some So here you see, well, let me describe the card, because the six of coins is like a power issue, right? Here you've got somebody who clearly has a lot of money. He looks like a merchant of some sort. And the two people on the ground are in rags almost, okay? They've basically covered themselves in rags, and they look to be begging for money, or at least waiting for money. And it indicates, as an energy, as a card, and it's the number 6, it indicates that there's an exchange. And is the exchange even? So in your mind, Deb, you want to be asking yourself, hey, is this, are we getting what we're paying for? And if we're not getting what we're paying for, are we making sure that we're keeping the landlord up to standard? Is the landlord in integrity? Is management in integrity? So Deborah says, yes, what occurred has caused them to open up to new things. My situation created healing and expansion, lots of growing for Olympus Properties. Wonderful. Yes, because sometimes they're hungry for the profit, aren't they? And especially after what's happened with COVID and the pandemic, and people maybe not being able to pay their rent, etc., and them having to... Lorelei, wonderful. Sure, absolutely. So let me see. I'm going to put everyone's name down. I don't want to miss anybody. Lara, hello. Lara, it's good. Wonderful to meet you. We have... I need to post the link for everybody. I do want everyone who plans on getting a reading to have a look at my disclaimer on my website. So I'm going to post that here. Forgive me while I take a break to do that. And hopefully that link will take you there. And Lara, it's $10 to get a 1-question reading tonight. And in that, 30% of your... of the exchange will go to a charity called Arunachala Animal Sanctuary in India, and we choose a different charity every month. So if you want to come back and join us again, and then you have a charity close to your heart, then you can opt to put that name up for, we put it in a raffle and we choose every month. I'm just going to post the different ways to pay. So for credit cards, it's on my website. Here it is. I hope the link works. Let me know if it's not working and I can put it in again. And then if you want to pay by PayPal or Zelle, you use my email, georgiamarantos@gmail.com. Right. And that should work. You could just cut and paste my email. Wonderful. So I have Deb and Adele. Deb, do you feel like we've kind of covered that one? I'm very happy to keep going. Adele, you wanted a general reading. So let's go here. I'm just going to check to see if Deb's happy. Specific questions, will get you specific answers. So it helps me focus on, what I'm looking at when I'm looking at a card, because, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And really that's the truth. However, when I'm connecting with your energy, I'm getting a draw towards something. And instead of plucking all of the somethings, I could go straight in for something, or I could just do a very, very general read. And when I do a general read, I'm really just reading the story on the card. Sometimes it picks up something specific, right? And this is how intuition sort of hits on these spots. When we're doing a reading for somebody else and we're connecting with their energy, then our intuition is reading the energy that's here and that's present. And somehow, by some magic, through the way our mind works, is when we look at the picture, we're attracted to tell a particular story, and that attraction. So there's this red, right? There was one figure that was feeling quite passionate and powerful in this exchange that Deb had with the management, right? And that created change. You see, this sword that's in the middle is creating the change. There's integrity right here in these hands, right? And these are thoughts that create waves, and the waves are the emotions. So do thoughts create waves and waves create thoughts? Yeah, they do, right? Thoughts and emotions, and how they interchange with one another. And with our thoughts, we create the world, says the Buddha in the Dhammapada, pretty much the first page. So if we can believe what the Buddha has to say, and he's followed by hundreds and thousands, if not millions of people all around the world, just as Jesus has, a massive following and teaches the same teachings, then we have to believe that there's some truth in it. And to live our life from that place of, if my thoughts create my world, then let me have a look at what thoughts I'm engaging in. And if I'm engaging in these thoughts, am I happy with the outcome that I'm seeing? And I think that's living a meaningful life, right? We're looking at ourselves and we're engaging with the world, and then we're looking back at ourselves and engaging with the world. And there's this relationship that's happening between us and that which we're interacting with all the time, right? And then in that, we don't want to create suffering. So if we're creating our own suffering when what we're creating with, when it's coming back to us, we're like, I don't like that. So then we go in and we think, okay, well, how can I create something else? I can do something different. I can think differently. There's the power of the thought. General for Adele. That was for all of us. That was for me. Remember that we're creating our own life right here and now. What do I want to create more of? I want to create more love and laughter and joy, less self-righteousness. It's never worth it, is it? Adele, you got a Major Arcana card. I love when the Major Arcana cards turn up. Why? Because they're an archetype. They're like, stand. They're like, this is the way to be in life. Embody this archetype and you will be as the Fool, right? So the Fool, we've talked about the Fool a few sort of maybe 3 or 4 videos ago. We featured the Fool, and if you go back into my YouTube channel, you'll find the video there. And we tend to talk about each of the cards in the last half an hour of the videos. And one day when I get good at video editing or I ask somebody to help me with that, we'll have some videos on the series of each Major Arcana card, which will be really good. So the thing with the Fool is that, here what's coming into me from the Fool, and I've never really seen this in the same way before, and I love saying that, because what you've got is, see the orange? It looks orange to me, and if you look at the card, it's clearly a bit of red put over yellow. This is a very yellow card. It has the very, very strong energy of the sun. So you know that this card is very raw sort of energy, and this is the energy of the universe. It's a 0 point. There's a 0 number on there. And because it's a 0 point, it means that you're coming back into your connection with Source. It's like anything that happens in your life, you're just coming back. You're just bringing yourself back. So here, there's no real thought happening. This figure has open arms, and is simply walking up, looking up, communing with the universe, communing with source energy, and trusting that all is well. And in that trust, you can experience that. It's freedom. This is true freedom. Not only are you free from thought, but you are completely entrusting everything that's happening and everything as it is. This is the stillest card, even though there's a figure in it and the figure is in action. In fact, there are two figures, right? There's the dog and there's the figure who's looks like they're about to walk over the cliff. We don't really know that. We know that they're taking a step. The figure could actually stop at the cliff and just enjoy the view. So Adele, I feel like the message coming through this particular card for you, and I'm going to pick another card because I want to see if I could pull something specific from the Fool. And we did very briefly talk about card combinations, right? How can we enhance the meaning or the understanding or the story of a card? We just add another card there. Do we need to? Not really, but we want to because we have some time and this is an opportunity to learn something new. So here's the Fool. Here's the Fool. You know, and the other message coming through for you, Adele, is be happy and be okay with being somewhere that you've never been before. You know, you because of the unknown, we're often afraid of the unknown, but you've been searching for and yearning for new ground, and you've finally achieved having this new ground. You're creating a new foundation for yourself. That's what this feels like. This is your new foundation. And even though it might be scary, you know, this dog looks like it's scared. Hey, don't go over the cliff. Even though there may be some fear. And a lot of people who talk about, if you've done any reading on people who are on the verge of awakening or having quite significant sort of spiritual realizations, or even in meditations, experiencing connection with source, because the me disappears. Now, I'm not talking from experience. I'm literally talking from what I've read other people describe, okay? That there is this fear of losing this identity that's me, right? And so this is a message for you to have no fear about losing the identity of me, losing the identity of Adele, that to understand that the promise of union with the divine is actually far more rewarding than holding on to the vestiges of this little me in the vastness of who we really are. This is really the card of realization and awakening. Wonderful. Congratulations, Adele. I'm really hoping to hear more from you. And I'll be reading your book when you tell us all. Will I pull another card? Yes. It was like, that felt so complete. Oh, success. Okay. I do feel that will happen. It's okay. You have nothing to fear. Absolutely nothing to fear. This is a general reading, and yet we've touched on something so vast and so massive. This is a success card. It's the Four of Wands. You have a wreath with abundance. You have people celebrating. You got flowers everywhere. There's people dancing. This is really a wonderful celebration card. So enjoy where you are. Enjoy this new place that you have found within yourself, and enjoy the freedom of non-attachment to anything. My pleasure. Lorelei, I think you might be next. Let me double check. Anna, how are you? Welcome. Anna, Lorelei, and Amy. Superb. Lorelei, just paid. Would love a card if you have the time. No question, just random. Awesome. And DI, I missed you. I'm so sorry. DI, can you get a reading? How can you get a reading? I think I've put in the links. So the credit card link takes you to my website. Go straight to the shop. And there's a product called One Question Reading that's $10. And you can pay by credit card on my website. And then you also can pay by PayPal and Zelle with georgiamarantos at Gmail. And if you like this video, please take a moment to, at some point, like the video. I don't know if you can do it on the live, because I think it might be a little bit different to when I post a video up on my YouTube channel. And if you want to sort of be notified of when I next go live, subscribe to my channel and click on the bell. And I think the bell lets you know if I've posted a video, and it just takes you straight to the page when you click on the link. So thank you for that. Lorelei, this is a general message for you. So before I do a reading, or actually sometimes even during a reading when I start with people, and most people, you know, are quite happy to sit and connect, right? So I'll spend some time closing my eyes. So Lorelei, I'm going to close my eyes and we're going to ask Spirit for a message, and we're going to connect to Source, right? Here we go. Let's take 3 deep breaths together. Let's everybody do this. Take a deep breath in and out. In and out. Once more, in and out. Just going to check in with Spirit, Lorelei. I'm being shown, when I close my eyes, I get sort of thinking, I get thoughts and I get visions. And when I look at the vision play out, it tells a story. And it's usually a metaphor, right? So I saw a vision, and I'm going to pick a card now, and I'm going to marry the vision with the card. So I feel that this message is about money and making money. And the vision that I saw was this kind of like, you know, in the clouds sits this God, and that God is testing us, you know, this idea that there's a God that sits in judgment of us and, you know, makes life hard for us. And so you know, this is around money, because the King of Pentacles signifies money. He's kind of obsessed with money. He has money. He's probably got a whole castle or a whole vault full of jewels and gold. And, you know, he's kind of like been collecting taxes from all over his kingdom. You know, these cards, the Rider-Waite-Smith cards, have a medieval theme, and they were created at the turn of the 20th century, more than 100 years ago now. And the fact that he owns this castle across the way probably, and he's also sitting in another castle, and he's just got abundance all over him, and he's sitting on his throne, and maybe he's been sitting on this throne for a very long time, because, you know, the vines are growing over him and they're sort of growing off the balcony. And so this guy is immersed in money. And, you know, and maybe this is the magic of what this card is asking you to do. I would pull this card out of your deck. If you have a tarot deck, I'd pull the King of Pentacles out, because he is the man in physical 3-dimensional world that has manifested a lot of money. And in order to, in order to motivate and help us feel that we too are abundant, rather than being jealous of him or thinking, well, only those people have it because it's their karma. You know, yes, it's okay that it's their karma, but it could be our karma too, right? And there's no reason why it couldn't be our karma, simply because we're looking at the lack of having a huge castle here at the moment. That's not to say that it can't be ours. And so what we're being asked to do with this card, and what I would, you know, this would be a little bit of magic to bring into your life, Lorelei, is notice if there are any thoughts about, you know, being tested, you know, having to go through periods of not having money, or even just looking at your past and your relationship in the past around money. I would even say don't even spend any time looking at how it's been, and not even thinking about any kind of testing. So take those thought waves and flatten them out, and then replace it with, you know, here is this person that is clearly very comfortable with money. I can be comfortable with money. Here is this person who's happily abundant. I can be happily abundant. Here is this person that's enjoying, you know, simply being with all of their abundance. I can be happy simply being with all of my abundance, because everything is always working out for me, right? That's the message of the heart. There's really no trouble here. I know that I'm being provided for. I know that I can be provided for. I know that in the future I will be provided for. I know that I am capable of allowing this energy in. And so when I saw that image of this God sort of throwing down these tests, you were protected by a layer of thought. And so that layer of thought is this. And this is the abundance consciousness. He represents abundance consciousness. And that's a little bit of tarot magic. And this is how, there's many books you can buy on tarot spells, and essentially what they do is they take, a card and they imbue it with, like they put it up on a vision board and say, well, this is, I'm going to create this, and they'll pick a card so you could pick a card. You could pick a card that represents you and put it next to the King of Pentacles, and then that becomes your reminder and your magic of this is me becoming more and more abundant every day. Lorelei, I wish you the best. Irina, hello. So Irina says, I'd love a little reading. Oh, Lorelei, beautiful. I think connected with worries about being provided for with the state of the world. Right. So that was coming through from the top. It's like, because why is there a God sort of throwing these tests down? The way that, so if we look at what the world is going through, we can see how we've created it ourselves, right? There's no separate being that's creating all of these. The cycles. So 100 years ago, almost 100 years ago, we had a flu pandemic, right? The Spanish flu pandemic. It was 2018. It followed the First World War of all things. So people were not only beaten, all the men had died in the war, millions of people had died, and everybody was suffering. And then the Spanish flu came and sort of completely decimated whoever was left. Millions more died across the world. And so this was only 100 years ago. This wasn't that long ago. To think this was right after. So, this was around the time that Rider-Waite-Smith was making these cards. Did we know at that point? Did they know? Did the occultists know that we would need these cards in the coming years, that we would need the sense of the capacity to be able to touch into ourselves and use, because the tarot is a source of, for me at least, a source of self-inquiry and self-empowerment. And by looking at all these symbols and using them in a way that can uplift me, they've become a tool for self-inquiry, a tool for self-empowerment, a tool for, when I'm feeling anxious, I can pull a card and say, well, how can this turn out? And if you were, and this is what I wanted to mention before, if you got my email today, I talk about the past, present, and future spread, and how we can use the past, present, and future spread to create and manifest that which we want. Well, it reads as a book, right? This is what happened in the past. This is what I'm manifesting now. And if I want to change what I'm manifesting in the future, then I need to work on something in the now. And then this is a really good example of how you work on something in the now, right? You bring in the abundance consciousness and you forget everything else. And the idea of a test is only an idea, and it doesn't, the more you believe it, the more it manifests, right? The more tests we get. So it's very interesting, isn't it? The spiritual path is one of these that lays all these ideas in front of us, all these stories, these parables and these understandings. And some of them we take on in a way that's not healthy. I'm now talking about myself, thinking about being tested by God or the universe when something that's bad that happens. Whereas it could be, as some people have said, and certainly as Derek O'Neill has mentioned in his Raising Consciousness calls, I recommend visiting his website, dereko'neill.com, for any understanding, any spiritual understandings. He's talked about cycles and the fact that we've seen this cycle 100 years ago where we've had a pandemic. And that this is coming in some ways. How do we create this for ourselves? How did we create this devastation? How do we create this suffering? If we bring it back to ourselves, which is what I have to do, because if I think about all the suffering that's out there, I become very overwhelmed. So when I bring it back to myself and I ask myself, how do I create my own suffering? Then I can start to do something about it, right? And then if I'm thinking about the rest of the world, then the best thing I feel that I can do is say a prayer, right? And in that prayer, I'm saying it not only for the world, but for myself also, because in the saying of the prayer, I feel better. And in my feeling better, the vibration that I'm sending out is better also for the world. So it works both ways. It works both ways. Yeah. And I think maybe even going back to what we first started talking about, our thoughts that create the world, we're responsible for. So the thoughts that we milk are really important. They're really important. And I feel that the more conscious we become of the thoughts that we're thinking and milking, one of the tools that I use to sort of go on a tangent, if my mind is going into a negative loop, or if I'm sort of arguing in my head, or if I feel that I'm holding on to a negative thought vibration, I'll throw myself into a mantra. So I will use a positive, uplifting statement that I repeat in my mind the minute I see myself going off into a direction that I know just makes me feel miserable. And I make sacred mantra art. And I think I have some examples here. Let's see. Maybe I don't. But I make them on these cards. This is evident of me having made a recent sacred mantra art card. Let me see. Oh, I don't have any here. But I will put a sacred mantra on a piece of paper and do a watercolor painting around it. Sometimes it's just a huge swirl, and other times it's, some pretty flowers. But if you go to my website, georgiamarantos.com, and you go to the shop, there are many examples of the different mantra cards that I make. And just having the presence of that mantra in your home and gives off a vibration. The actual sounds or words that you use that are uplifting, that make you feel good. So when you look at it, it's a reminder, but it's a tool, right? So mantras are a tool. And about 2 weeks ago, I wrote a blog on mantras and using mantras to uplift yourself. I haven't been keeping an eye on the comments. I'm so sorry. Lara, Scott, thank you so much. Lara, you have paid and I've got you down, and I see your question. One question about a new business idea, the sanctuary. Thank you so much. And Irina, hello. So, hi, Linda. Thank you so much for being here. I love having everybody here. Thank you so much. Irina says, I'd love a little reading if you have time, a general reading. And you just paid. Okay, so we have our 6 people. I won't be able to take anyone else. Let me know if I've missed you. So far I have Deb, Adele, and Lorelei, and I'm about to pull a card for Amy. So Amy, you're next. Did you just want a Kristen? Hello. Amy, did you want? Oh, here you go. Excuse me. Work and home life for the next 5 months. Did you want a general reading about that? Maybe I'll pull the card, Amy, on the next 5 months. So we're looking at what are you creating now for the next 5 months, which is like a future, right? So I'm going to pull. This is like a good opportunity now for me to pull a past, present, future spread, just to illustrate what I was talking about in my email. So here's a past, right? Present and future. Here we go. So the past was the Ace of Pentacles. A whole new pathway opened up for you. And we could say that it happened recently. The present, what are you creating in this present moment? So what we create in this present moment is based on the result of things that we previously thought and felt and acted upon, right? So our past thoughts, feelings, actions basically brought us to this point. So you know at the moment that you are physically recovering from some fractures and you've had surgery. So this is the result. So sometimes the present moment card will show us the result of what you were previously creating. And where you're moving towards right now is the 4 of coins. So here you are, but look at the balance. Can you see? I'm going to put myself outside so we can focus on the card. Come on, camera, you can do it. Do you see how this man's hands, who's sitting down, the beautiful crown, there we go. So his expression is one of stillness, you know, and it's a one of sort of concentration. And I see, and if I can talk about the energy here, there's a very passionate approach here to be in balance, because you've got someone who's balancing a coin on their head, balancing one over their heart. So you're doing so much work on clearing your heart and also of grounding yourself. See these 2 coins on the ground, one on each foot. So you're balancing, you're grounding, and you're working on your heart. And there's a yin-yang balance with his hands. If I can just do that right now, right? And you can see the yin-yang balance of the hands, and he's doing them, right? And, you know, the yin-yang symbol where you've got the white part with the black dot and so that's a very powerful symbol. And I might even encourage you to look that symbol up or have it up in your house somewhere. And you probably do, Amy, because you're a very spiritual person. So this card is all about balance, and you're bringing balance back into your life, right? And an end to those thoughts. Look at that. So in the next 5 months, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be putting an end to all the thoughts that created any kind of worry, because this is an end. Now, the swords, as we know, represents thoughts and intellect and ideas. And here you had thoughts that were wrapping you up. And here you have complete ending of these thoughts. So this is really good news. And finding this balance. And also creating a brand new foundation. Look at this steady, absolute steady ground that you're on. There's the energy of the moon, right? And when the energy of the moon comes, and you can see that the moon is throwing down these yods, this is spiritual energy that's coming down. So you're connecting with spirit, you're connecting with that part of you that's the shadow side, and you're really cleansing yourself. See these 2 pillars? You're on this pathway and you're moving through, and here at the corner, and you see there's I think it's the star card. If only I could find the star card. This is you as the pilgrim on that road. That's also your daughter. The Page of Wands can represent children. And it feels like once you move through this moon, once you move through the shadow and dealing with those emotions that are difficult to deal with, you know, ones that we kind of just pack away and say, I don't want to look at you good and proper. You know, I can touch you and you feel overwhelming, but if I look at you good and proper and I start to take you apart and I start to think, well, this is how I want to feel, right? This is how I want to feel about this. And I'm going to transform that. I'm going to transform those feelings that used to create, you know, kind of a nervous energy for me. And I see you doing that. And actually things will move very fast for you. So in this 5 months, and I've given you sort of a 5-month look ahead, there's lots of balancing, lots of heart integration, lots of coming out of an old ways of thinking and moving on to a new paradigm for you. You in the world as you're meant to be. This is the success card. So just know that success is yours and that you're on this path to success, and that this is a very, very, you've done everything right. Everything right. And this is the card that says, yes, you're on the right path. Yes, you're doing the right thing. And don't question yourself. There's no room for doubts. Just keep moving. Well done, Amy. I wanted to talk about my crown, didn't I? So I'm going to do that right now. I was probably going to talk about her in a minute, but if you have a look at this crown, can you see that these crystals, some of them are really mangly? And so you look at this one, they're actually cracked. So when I bought this, I bought it from a woman on Etsy, and she had these pictures of all these real incredibly beautiful, sparkling, perfect crystals, you know, and they were like clear. And I thought, oh, wow, I want a crown like that. And the one that she sent me was this one with all of its cracks, and half of them are like not the same height. Whereas, you know, I'd seen these crystal crowns. I'm like, I want the perfect crown. But of course, it came and it was cracked. And I had to sit with the idea of the imperfection, right? And there's a goddess, her name is Akilandashvara. And she's a, so you have in the Hindu religions, you have many, many gods, but you have a few main gods, right? So there's a Shiva, Lord Shiva, who is the god that is the god of destruction and destroys all evil. And he has a female counterpart, and that's Parvati or Shakti, right? And this imperfect goddess, the goddess that is never not broken, is what Akilandeshvara is her name. She is the one that holds the energy of basically exploding light through all of the broken pieces, right? So the non-perfection, in sort of allowing this crown to be imperfect and saying, I'm going to embrace my imperfection and allow that to be what the divine has decided I am going to be and look like, and that's okay. I can still be a vessel for the divine, being as I am. And I just wanted to bring that up because I feel that, you know, Amy, you've been through this incredible experience, and you're recovering from breaks, but the breaks are golden breaks, right? The cracked crystal is a golden crystal. It's a broken crown, but it's a beautiful crown because it still holds the energy of that which is it's meant to, right? This is still the crystal crown. It's still a crystal crown. That I think that it's broken or I think that it's imperfect doesn't mean that it's imperfect. It doesn't take away from its perfection. It's perfect because it's here. It's like we are perfect because we're here. Can we allow the world to be imperfect? Can we allow it to be broken? Can we allow everything to be falling down without it getting back together? Can it just be broken? Can it just be a broken world that goes through cycles that will eventually become a moon or a star or whatever it's destined to do? Can we, like the dinosaurs, in a million years, will people be finding our bones and kind of picking us up out of the dirt saying, gosh, they used to be so big and clumsy, and look at us, little shiny viruses, winning in the world right now. What a funny thought. We, the big humans who thought we'd live forever. Well, that was a big tangent, but who's next? Amy, Lara, you're here. I hope you're laughing with me. Amazing, Amy. I hope you got the message of your reading, and thanks a lot for asking. Oh, Di, did I miss you? I'm so sorry. I'm going to put you in here. The readings are $10. Did you pay for your reading? There's a PayPal link, georgiamarantos@gmail.com, and you can pay by PayPal or Zelle. Lara, open question about new business idea called The Sanctuary. All right, Lara, we are connecting with you right now. Lara. 2 cards. So it's definitely a good idea, right? I'm just wondering about timing. So I don't know if you're thinking about timing, but this card for me is about timing. And this card is about what a great idea it is. I love it. You know, the sanctuary. You have a look at the butterflies at the top of his, the King of Swords head. There's three butterflies, and there's an angel on his shoulder, and I believe you have very strong guidance. So I feel that this guidance is coming from spirit for you, Lara, to open this sanctuary. And you know, the butterflies live in sanctuaries, in butterfly sanctuaries. And actually I have a pendant where this particular artist collects the butterflies when they've lived their life in their sanctuary, and then makes pendants out of them. And really the butterfly that transforms during its short life from the caterpillar to the butterfly then lives for such a short time, but is so beautiful, so exquisitely beautiful. So yes, to the sanctuary being a great idea. Yes, to the sanctuary actually coming into, it's a great strategy for you, a strategy for you to bring in this business, because we need more sanctuary right now. We need the idea of coming into a place where we can find our inner sanctuary. I'm not sure if that's what your sanctuary is going to do, but I get that feeling that it's a place of calmness and a place of tranquility. Now, when to do it, I'd be like, have you got a lot on your plate at the moment? Because this card, the 9 of Wands, as you can see, this guy, I'm going to bring him in, he's looking a little weather worn. His shirt is torn and he's got a bandage on his head. And he's a little sort of suspicious. He's like, do I have to do more work? Do I really have to do more work? I'm not sure I can. So I wonder if in your life at the moment, there's, you know, you're having to do a lot. And so maybe one on timing. Should we do one on timing? I think the camera's still focusing on the cards. Let's have a look here. All right. And I think, did you get one? So then Di. Here we go. So Irina's like, I love a little reading. I'm just going to check in. Lara says, yes, please. Oh, Di said yes for 2 questions. Oh, Di, yes, absolutely. Thank you. So I don't know where you came in the order, but I'll do you after Lara if that's okay. So Lara, let me know if this is something that you're experiencing, but I do feel this is all about timing. So when would be a good time for you to do the business, right? To bring in the sanctuary. So when I do timing cards, I pick 1 card for each. Let's look at months, shall we? I think 2 months. I got the 2 of Cups. So you may very well be looking at doing this in a partnership with someone else, or you're going to meet somebody at 2 months who's going to help you. It's certainly not just in the ideas, but who may actually be on the same page with you, would be interested in offering the same work. You know, look at that. There's a great energy around 2 months. So 2 months takes you into kind of November, December. Where are we? August. There's September and October. So November, right? And we're back in the middle of winter in the northern part of the northern hemisphere. And you've got an opportunity there. So it looks like a door opens. Let's see. Linda Dross says, you're so funny, little viruses. Yeah, we don't know who's going to be on the planet in the future, in the next few millennia. I'm sure once we've filled it all full of plastic as we have. Lara Scott. So Deb says, hello, great cards. You're funny, Deb. They are great cards. They're great cards for your idea, that's for sure. And maybe I can pull the card for the 9 here, right? Let's pull the card for the 9. Yeah, there's maybe something else that you need to complete before the sanctuary comes up, because this is the sanctuary, right? So the sanctuary says, yes, it's a great idea. Yes, it would be good for you to get in a good strategy in. And it looks like in about 2 months, you're going to get some help, right? And maybe this person, maybe even just a conversation with a good friend that sort of sparks ideas into your head, and you start saying, well, actually, yeah, I do feel like that's kind of a good idea. And maybe we've heard about this space, or maybe I can do this online. Will it be online? Will it be in a space? Yeah, it looks like it's a physical space. I mean, I'd have to ask you, but I get the card sort of, you know, the 8 of coins here about it being in a specific space. So there's something else that you're working on right now that needs to end, right? And then you've got the actual work that you're going to be doing with this sanctuary. So yeah, the work hasn't finished yet. You've still got some more ideas that need to come in, either some money that needs to come into you, which is what this card would indicate, right? Because it's a coin card. It's a physical space. Yeah. So I just want to show you when I chose, was it a physical space? Was it an internet? Was it the internet? Or was it a physical space? So this is what the card that I got for the internet. So for those of you who are learning how to read for yourself, who are doing choice cards, right? When I pick a card that's a yes and no question, and this is like a comparison too, I have a 10. Now, when you get a 10 and you look at this guy and he's like so effortful, well, that's a no, right? So no to the internet and yes to the physical place. And then we get confirmation. Right? Lara says, yes, physical space. And do you need some money? You're going to need a little bit of extra money. And maybe that's what it feels, just before you get onto that next step, you need to kind of get that sorted. Is there anything else you wanted to know about that, Lara? I'm going to go on to Di's 2 questions. So, yes'm, she says, wonderful. One last card for Lara. Great idea. Whenever we pick a card, whenever we're wondering, is it a good idea? This is the card we want to see. I'm glad that the King of Swords came up because he gave me a feel for the space. But the Ace of Swords is a big yes. Absolutely great idea, great opportunity, not just for you, but for a lot of people, because Spirit is asking you to do it. Spirit's wanting you to do it. Your guidance is strong. Your third eye is strong. Your crown is strong. Connect, connect, connect. And then you need to also ground the energy as well, right? So we're now going to shuffle and we're going to go to Di. Di, did you put your questions in? Let me just double check. I'm going back up the list to make sure I've got Di's questions. Or Di, it's time for you to ask your questions. Go right ahead. And given that we're coming to 7 o'clock, while Di types in her questions, oh, here she comes. My first question, do you see me being able to move into a new apartment soon? Sure. So that's a yes and no. Oh, you're D? Thank you, D. And thanks for letting me know that's how to pronounce your name. All right, D, let's do it. So... will you move into your new apartment soon? Because will you be able, well, they kind of come together, right? You kind of have to be able if it is that it looks like you're going to be moving in. So are you going to move into your apartment soon? So there's money involved, right? Are you waiting on some money? It looks like money is the rate limiting step. Am I going to move into the apartment yet? I mean, we talked about this card before. In fact, we were talking about this card with Deb when we were talking about the landlord and the tenant, right? And how some landlords are behaving right now. They're always in it for the money and they're not sort of delivering the goods. But so here you go. This is this person here that says, am I going to be able to do it? Well, looks like you need a little bit more money, right? And are you going to get that? So the strength card, now whenever we ask a yes and no question and we get a strength and we get a major arcana card, in general, the minor arcana cards are much easier to read as sort of black and white yes and no questions. But when you get a card that's part of the 22 archetypes, then you have to read you have to read the energy of the card, right? So I say yes, because the energy sort of moving for you to get this to move into your apartment now soon is another thing. So we're going to do a quick timing on that question. But are you going to be able to move into your apartment? Yes, you're capable of it. She's got a wreath around it. She's got a wreath on her head. She has a wreath. Wreaths are all over the tarot cards. You will see every time you see a wreath, good things are happening, right? People have enough time to sit down and make a wreath and put it on their heads. It just means they're celebrating. And so she's just full of wreaths and full of strength, and you're capable of doing it, right? So let's have a look at when. How soon, right? Because soon could be 1 week. Soon could also be a few months. Soon could also be a year. For some people, that could be soon, because sometimes they work on a schedule or they work on a plan, right? This is how much money I'm putting away, etc. So let's have a look at how soon is. So I'm going to go month by month. 1 month, 2 months. 2 seems to be the number. I get 2 months because I got this card. And this was 1 month, which, no, he's a little undecided. Doesn't look like 2 months, but it doesn't look like 1 month, right? 2 months. So it looks like you're going to be pretty happy with yourself and your capacity to gather a bit more money by 2 months. And do you have the capacity to do that, right? You're wondering. Okay, this is a yes and no. So this is the card that says, well, I don't know. I'm not sure, right? So you need to come up out of the not sureness. This goes back to Lorelei's reading. Pull out the King of Pentacles, put him on your refrigerator and start calling on the energy of the King of Pentacles and that abundance consciousness, right? Because you don't want to be in doubt, which is what this card is. You don't want to say, well, I don't know if I can do it. You want to say, of course I'm going to do it because I see it for myself. I know I can do it. I'm effortlessly creating. I'm effortlessly manifesting. I'm effortlessly allowing this new apartment to come to me. Is 2 months soon enough for you? Yeah. All right. So change your thought vibration. Come into a place of happily, excitedly looking forward to it coming. Right? Because any other thought vibration simply creates a lot of resistance. Any worry, any doubt, any concern, it just brings you down. And it's so interesting to catch your mind do that. I do it all the time. It's like, why am I such a downer on myself? Why am I so hard on myself? It's not fair. But when you also look at the broken crown and say, well, even that's perfect. And then there's relaxation. Right? So when we notice that we're having a thought and we can say, oh, well, that's okay. It's all right. It's okay that I've had that thought. We're no longer holding tension in our body. And if in this present moment there's no tension, then there's allowing. And that allowing is very attractive. You know, the universe can then pour into that allowing and it can pour into that receiving. And that's the energy that you want to be holding on to, Dee. So what's your next question? Let me know. Pump in your next question. Do I see? So that was there. I'm going to start talking about the Empress. I'm going to pull her out while you talk, while you write your question. And Irina, can you put your question in? Or I think you may have. Irina. You just got your power back. Jennifer Anderson got her power back. Yay! Oh, that's wonderful. Yay! Congratulations. Oh, my Lord. I don't know how you did it, Jen. We were out of power for maybe 5 minutes, the whole of Manhattan. I woke up like a second before it happened, or a few seconds before it happened. And I started finding candles. We live right on street level and it was pitch black. It was just so beautiful. And so I started lighting up all the candles in the living room and thinking, gosh, it's so beautiful. I think I'm going to meditate here. It was so funny. And then it went. It's like, oh, I wonder how I'm going to deal with this blackout. And then the power came back. I suppose that's how I was going to deal with it. Here we go. Second question. I've pulled out the Empress, so she's not allowed to make a debut in your question. But if we get, this is D. Thank you, Georgia. My second question is just what you see coming up for me in my romantic life for the remainder of this year. Sure. And Irina wants a general guidance card. Oh, because you mentioned the moon and the I'll have a look at your question again, Irina. So we have the Empress, okay, and I'm just going to, if anybody wants to be in a relationship, this is the woman that you pull out onto your refrigerator, because the Empress is the Earth Mother. She's the one that has landed. She's the one that is embodying fully. She's voluptuous. She's curvy. She's pregnant sometimes. She's not pregnant other times. She's pregnant with ideas. She's pregnant with things. She's creating like non-stop. This woman is the the center of creativity. And she's the one that we want to draw into our life when we want to become more feminine, when we want to become more sensual. Look at her sitting on these pillows. Look at how comfortable these pillows are. And she's laying back on them, and they're so plush and they're so sensual. And there's plenty of them. There's even like a blanket out there, and you see these hieroglyphs over here, and they look like astrological symbols. And she's got these stars on her crown, and there are 12 stars. I wonder how many crystals I have. Looks like more than 12, but still, we're embodying the Empress today. She has that golden hair. So all of her crown chakra is alight with these stars. And we know that the 12 astrological signs that make, actually, I think there's a 13th. If we look up cosmic astrology and Stephanie Azaria, there's a 13th sign, believe it or not. So go to her website and check out the latest sign that has come into being, the 13th sign. But here we have 12. And she brings down all the energy, and she creates physical. She creates through the physical. And there are all the elements are here: water, earth, air, fire. And look at these pomegranates. There are pomegranates on her skirt. A bunch of cards have just fallen down. I'm going to pick them up in a minute. Are they pomegranates or roses? Now I have to go back to my notes. Here we go. Wait a second. Oh, we're wanting to focus. There they are. They look like pomegranates to me, but they could be roses. She's just exploding with passion, and she has that beautiful white dress on. And so we know that she's connected so beautifully to spirit. So the next one is, what's coming up for you in your romantic life? So if you want to be romantic, you want to get sensual and with yourself. You want to be in partnership and feeling really good in your body. I think that's what she does. She feels good in her body. She doesn't care what she looks like. She's just comfortable, right? She's comfortable being herself. She's comfortable being this creator. She's comfortable giving birth. She's incredibly fertile. Look at this. Wheat is a symbol of fertility. She's usually pregnant. In many of the Rider-Waite-Smith versions of the Empress, you'll see her actually pregnant, giving birth. There's a waterfall. Whenever you see a waterfall, this sense of abundance sits with her too. We've been talking about abundance tonight, right? Put the Empress and the King of Pentacles up there, right? Because the King of Pentacles is similarly sitting in amongst the abundance. She is abundant. She's truly abundant. Back to you, Lara. Here we go. I'm also going to pick up a card from the cards that fell. Oh, a lot of them fell. I'm going to pick up the one that has that's not upright. Here we go. The Queen of Swords. And I'm going to put these together. So we're now looking, coming up in a romantic life. There is an offering. There's an offering. Do you see that? You see this offering? So this is a romantic offering that's coming to you. Will you be open to it? Have you had sort of experiences in the past where you were saying, well, I don't really want to experience that again? And understandably so, right? So what the energy that we're working with, again, the Queen of Swords has a very direct energy, right? She knows exactly what she wants. She knows exactly where she's going. And is that what's being offered? Let's have a look. Is what's being offered good for you? Should you take it? Because here you've got this figure that's saying, not interested. Or actually, I'm not even seeing it. So could this be a relationship or a potential for a relationship that comes from somewhere where you're not even aware that it's coming from? That's what this card is sort of talking to. Let's have a look. Is this relationship worth looking at? So this is like for me, this is a no, right? And so maybe there will be an offering in the next, coming up for you in the remainder of this year, but there'll be something about it that you'll think, no, not interested, or there's something about it that doesn't sit right with me. Why? Because the Queen of Swords, she's highly intuitive, right? She knows. Look, there are no clouds above her head. She's like zero, right? How are you looking? How are you searching? Right? An open heart, an overflowing cup. I feel this message from Spirit is saying, come back into your own heart. Come back into your own heart and let it be overflowing. You don't want to be too much in your head when you're looking at a potential relationship. You want to just be in your heart and be in that sense of appreciation and openness for whatever is coming. And I know that we asked, would it be worth going for? And we got a no. Well, what about after that? How about next year? So we're getting a no there. What about the year after? So the year after is very open. Now, I would love to do this with the tarot because we're talking about alchemy, right? And so what if, for example, you were to bring along the energy of the Empress, and you were going to say, you know what, I'm going to move from. Can you see the difference between these two women? So the court cards, which is what the Queen of Swords is, so the minor arcana have there are 4 court cards. There's the Page, the Knight, the Queen, and the King. And they're 4 people. They usually represent people. Now, the Empress usually represents an energy, but can represent Mother, and also represents just the energy, the divine sort of feminine energy. Now, when you look at these two together, who would you approach for love? Is the Queen of Swords going to turn around and say, you know, I love you, darling? Well, she's probably first going to say, you know, where are my slippers? And can you go get them for me? Sitting in her very sort of cold concrete seat. Whereas the Empress is already like thrown herself at you and taking you into a big embrace. So there's no mistake that I started talking about the Empress before your second question, because I do feel that you're being asked to bring in her energy. You're being asked to be in your heart, to not think about the past experiences in a relationship and saying, well, I'm only going to have a relationship like this, or this. You're going to have to throw out the drawing board, throw out the vision board, right? And be like a child again. Throw out the vision board. Love simply for itself, as opposed to loving love in the package of a relationship. And so then you're not going to be disappointed by the way that love approaches you, or by the way that love looks like, or by the way that love presents itself, because you're loving life. And when you're loving life, you're just happy as you are. So there's a sense of well-being that's coming to you because you're going to create it, right? And you're going to come out of the very sort of critical thinking and into, oh, this is an experience. You know what? I'll take it. Even if it's not a great relationship, I'll go dating and I'll go experiencing and I'll go chatting and I'll go dancing. And that sense of openness is going to lead you into love, right? So just a little bit more opening, because that's what the Fool promised in the following year. Dee, I hope that answers your question. It's certainly very inspiring. And Irina, I'm going to give you a general guidance card. I want to talk a little bit more about the Empress because she has a few more symbols in there. So all of the trees are full. She's like representing, you know, the middle of summer. Here we go. I still feel like I'm not getting her into, let me have a look. Here we go. I kind of have to hide so that she can come into focus, or maybe I'll do this first. All right, here we go. Focus. Oh, there she is. Look at how kind she is. She's so kind and she's so beautiful, and her golden hair, the golden locks. She just looks like a painting. She could even be, you know, a very famous painting. And she's wearing pearls, and she's got this beautiful scepter, and she's holding the world, you know, the scepter and the roundness, and that, you know, she's a very full, experienced card. And all of the trees, you know, there's fir trees and there's just regular trees and there's green grass and there's an abundance in the crops. And so people would call on her energy when they needed abundance, because she's the other card of abundance. As I mentioned, she and the King of Pentacles. And she's got the overflowing waterfall. So everything that she needs to create is here around her. And also remember, she comes in a long line. She comes So first you have the Fool, and then you have the Magician. So the Fool is raw energy. The Magician is the elements and the alchemist. Let's just come back into focus here. Oops. We're here. We're here. And then we're back again. The Fool and the Magician is the alchemist. The High Priestess is the one that holds all the spiritual laws. So as the Magician is drawing down this energy, the High Priestess says, well, these are the spiritual laws with which the Earth Mother will now give birth. And so you know that by the time you've come to the Empress, all of the laws have been, all of the karma has been dealt, all of the contracts have been written, and then she births everything into the physical 3-dimension. And that's her job. She's the birth, creativity, fertility. Whenever you see this card, these are the words that come to your mind. She's abundance. She's beauty. She's actually stunning beauty. Sometimes she can represent the beauty of a woman. And not only but the beauty of nature and the beauty of all things, which is why we get so attached to them, right? The beauty of all the things that she's creating. And how is she creating? She's very relaxed, right? She's allowing, she's receiving. All of these things are very feminine and very female aspects. And she's the Earth Mother. So she can literally represent mother. She can represent your mother, the person's mother that you're reading for. She can represent partner, because remember, who comes after the Empress is the Emperor. So the Empress and the Emperor go together hand in hand. The Emperor organizes everything that she's giving birth to, because she doesn't care that she's just birthed a goat and a building together. She's just birthing. So the Emperor comes along and says, well, the building belongs in the city and the goat belongs in the country on the farm. That's, a very sort of simplistic way of putting it. But he creates structure and foundation, and she's just birthing, constantly birthing. And this is the energy we want. She's holding the world in her hands, right? And it's in her left hand. Is that right? Oh, it's in her right hand. Sorry. So she's bringing down the energy into the right, which is the physical, right? It's the physical. And the left is the spiritual. And there's the symbol, the feminine symbol. This is the symbol of Venus that's on her, and she represents Venus. And that's the astrological sign that's represented by this card too. Right. And Irina, I'm going to pick a card for you. And I can't believe we've come to the end of the night. I want everybody right now to pick a number between 1 and 25. Okay, so between 1 and 25. And I have a number. I'm going to write it down, because I want you to know that it's fair and I'm not changing it. So pick a number and put it down in the comments, and the very lucky person will win a free 30-minute reading with me. And I can promise you in 30 minutes we can do 3 questions or more. We can delve into a particular issue. We can have a look at things that are influencing the present, that are in the past, and we can reframe things so that you can feel better. Because that's what a reading's meant to be. That's certainly what I expect from a reading when I get one. I want to feel better. I'm usually coming in with questions, and I understand that I can't always control the outcome, but I can just feel better about being here. I don't want to have to worry about everything all the time. And, engaging with the tarot really helps that for me. Oh, I've put it up before. Hang on, I'm going to have to change I'm going to change it because I just put it up. All right. So for everyone who's put down, it's between 1 and 20. Can we start again? Did anybody see that? Let's do it. Let's say there are 10 people. Let's do it between 1 and 10. So Deb, guess again. Christina, guess again. It's between 1 and 10 now, because there's only 10 of us here. And the lucky 10, one of the lucky 10 will win this reading. And I'm going to write it down. Even if you don't want a reading yourself and you want to gift it to somebody, you can put it down. Yeah, so you can go twice. Good for you. All right. And Irina, I'm going to pick your card. So Deb, where are you? Pick another number. I'm going to pick some that fell on the floor. Here we go. Really appreciate it, everyone who's come tonight, everyone who's purchased a reading. We've made a good bit of money for Arunachala Animal Sanctuary, and I can't wait till the end of the month when we send them a chunk of money and know that we've done really good for the animals and the people in the area who have to work with the animals and look after them. I think they see like 400 dogs a month, something like that. And they also look after monkeys and birds and any of the animals that are injured, because there are lots of car accidents and little sort of mini tractors that sort of travel around in India. I've never been there, but I know that the streets can be pretty wild. So if there are lots of animals on the streets, then they're just open to that energy. I'm going to pop the Empress in. How can we use the Empress? She's the abundant one. So the number was 7. Congratulations. That's Lorelei. Yay, Lorelei. We get to talk some more. We get to have a reading. Yay. Irina, here you are. All right, Irina, thank you for holding on. I got 3 cards for you. All right, here we go. I'm going to tell a little story. This is a general reading. And they look very different, but not really. So the first one that I picked up is the Queen of Cups. The second one that I picked up is the 10 of Swords and the 10 of Clubs. So I would say that there is something that is coming to an end for you, and I feel like it's a really positive thing. Have you had to deal with a lot of emotion? Have you been sort of steeped in any kind of emotion, really? Have you felt overwhelmed at all? Because I feel there's an end coming to that. There's an end to your overwhelmment. And this is really positive, okay? So you're moving into a period where there's an ending of sorts. Maybe if it hasn't been a sense of overwhelming, it's been that something that has ended has created overwhelming for you, or overwhelmment for you. Now, here we go. Let's have a look past that, right? How's it going to pan out? How's it going to feel, right? Let's have a look. Irina, thank you. All right. So this is the 7 of clubs, or 7 of wands. And when we sometimes feel like we have to work hard to, get our point across and to do the work that we need to do and to do the healing that we want to do, because I know, Irina, you're a healer. You use magic, you use herbs, and you're very capable. Right? And it shouldn't have to be this struggle. Right? So will there be an end to this struggle? Yes. I feel like all the cards that I've pulled out, all of these, and this one, this Judgment card, that you're going to experience a release and a relief from this sense of hard work and constant sort of needing to beat the drum of what it is that you want to achieve. See, the card of Judgment indicates a sense of absolute opening and absolute freedom. So there's one card, so in the Christian sense of the word, when we think about the Bible and Jesus and having been on the cross and then being liberated and coming back and there being a day of judgment where, we'll be judged for our actions, that's not this card. This is the card number 20. And it actually comes in the series just before the World card. Do you remember that World card with the big wreath and this naked woman and this beautiful flowing scarf over her body? Well, that's what comes after this card. So this is the card of absolute freedom and understanding and release from the whole of your life's sort of struggles. And that's what you're going to release. This feels like an angelic guided, very therapeutic release and relief from all the kind of heaving and hoeing that's been happening, right? This ending to all these kind of very, very kind of, the X and the X. Whenever I get two X's, two tens, the X is the Roman numerals for 10, and these come at the end of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So whenever you get tens, particularly if you get two of them or three of them sometimes, they indicate the ending. So there is definitely an ending, and this is a freedom card. These are two X's, twin X's. So you have not just two X's, you have four of them, 4 tens. So there's definitely an end to suffering. I think you're going to have to write a book for us, Irina, because if you're ending your suffering, we all want to know. We want to know how you got there, and we want to know. We want to do that too, right? Anyone who has awakened and surpassed and transformed their suffering has a lot to offer the world. All right, here you are in the sun. What a great card to end the night on. You've got the sun and judgment. And if I can find the Empress again, because I put her back in there, I wanted to see if she'd come for you, because she's surrounded by nature, and I know you're surrounded by nature. I'm just going to find her again. All right, I just want to bring the energy of these three cards. So you want to be free from suffering, and you want to just live in the moment. You pull the sun card out. There's absolutely no suffering here. The sun is shining. The sunflowers are facing the sun. There's a beautiful red feather, the feather of Mart, on the top of this child's head. There's a garland of flowers around their head. Look at that. And they're just happy, and it's a joyful day, and there's a beautiful white pony. And there's no, you can see that the pony doesn't have any sort of anything on it. So not only that, but the horse is free. The pony is free. Not only is the child free and indicating freedom of play and joy and happiness, but the horse is free. It's free from being tied down to a master. And, this beautiful blanket that's being thrown in the air, the blanket has come off. There's no need to cover ourselves. There's no more covering. Everybody's naked in these pictures. You could be naked and free and open. Is the Empress naked? No, she's not naked. But you could imagine her naked. And actually, in many of the Rider-Waite-Smith shoot-off decks, you often see her naked because she's in nature and she has nothing to hide. Her job is simply to reproduce, simply to allow, simply to just multiply everything. Everything she touches turns into more of that, right? So she has the card that, she has a dress that's full of all these flowers, this abundance, this absolute abundance. She's just got so much going on. These are power cards. All of the archetypes, all of the major arcana are power cards. And you see the symbol on her. The symbol on her blanket is the Venus symbol, right? The astrological Venus symbol. And there it is again, but it's repeated on this blanket. And, she's as feminine gets. And these two are all about freedom, the freedom of the feminine, right? The unattached feminine, the unconditional feminine. This is unconditional freedom. So, Irina, we got to spend some more time together. I want to be around all this unconditional freedom, this release from self-judgment, the release from all that hard work. You don't need to work hard anymore. Be in the energy, be in the flow. And with that, everybody, congratulations, Lorelei, and I'll be in touch with getting your free reading. Thank you so much to everybody who's liked the video. That's really awesome. I super appreciate it. And subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. Thank you so much. Enjoy the energy of the Empress that has come through today. Enjoy the energy of this compassionate bodhisattva. And I wish you many, many blessings. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you, everybody. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Bye.